What's going on, guys? We just wrapped up our trading session this morning with our Learn to Earn team. As you can see here, we had a good turnout. A lot of people joining this morning and hanging out with us as we traded the markets. And what I wanted to go over was the market, right? It's overall bullish right now after a nice 3-day rally. Yesterday, it sold off very aggressively back to this moving average. And this morning, I actually shorted the market right at the below this 483 mark here. It was red. This was a big red candle. I thought if it broke 480, then we'd get more selling pressure. And 480 actually held as a support. So QQQ now up to 486 from that 480 level. As you can see this morning, I held on to this position a little longer today on SQQQ as this was getting rejected for the majority of the morning. As soon as it no longer got that rejection, and again, it was rejected multiple times this morning, here, and here at that 484 level. So I thought it'd be a great resistance and this would actually come back down. And that actually was not the case. As you can see here on my SQQQ position, I bought the breakout 15 shares around $35.50. I then bought another 10 at $35. I bought another 20 at $35, about 30 shares total at 35, and another one at 35. So my share price, my average share price was like 35.20, 35.19, and I had, a nice amount of risk. I was only risking about 1%, which was $16, and to make a potential 20, 30, 40, even $50, even if it bounced up really nicely, even $200 at one point. Now, that was not the case as this did begin to sell off. Again, I tried to buy at that support level when it broke, held just a little longer as QQQ pushed up. Again, saw some resistance at about 485.30s, 485.50s on QQQ. And I thought, okay, well, let's hold. Then as soon as it broke, I sold at 34.50, losing about 28 bucks. Nothing too crazy. Looks like it's right back to where I sold. So I sold at 34.57, close to 20, 30 minutes ago. And it's at the exact same price now and it's actually beginning to push up. So if QQQ begins to sell off, this may get a retest at 484 or maybe even at 485 for a retest for the bulls to continue that bull pattern, or this could begin to sell off even more. But right now everything's looking very bullish as far as our 4-hour time frame. Again, trading within this range for quite some time. If we go here, it was trading within this 465 to 480 range for quite some time, last couple of weeks or so. And then it broke out of that range, pushed up to 480s, pushed all the way up to 494, came all the way back down to 480 to retest that previous resistance. Okay, this was a previous resistance at 480, validated it, and now it is a strong support level. Now, it is above 485.95, so very bullish on the day. This could be the start of 3 stages of reversal. As you see on the 1-hour chart, you have that strong rejection period below that 200-day moving average, the green line, and then you have consolidation here, really choppy, no longer making lower lows or lower or higher highs, just kind of staying within this range. And now we're seeing a break above. It held above this moving average for the last few days. Really strong push up, now testing this moving average again and showing that it is actually a support for the moving average currently. Okay, slightly getting rejected off of the 45 EMA, so that's interesting to see, and also getting rejected off of that 200-day moving average on the 30-minute. So I'm curious, is this still bearish overall and just slightly bullish on the day, or will this actually begin to rally and make newer highs? Only time will tell specifically on that, but we traded it this morning. We had a good time trading it. Just ended up being on the wrong direction. It started out very bearish. It sold off below that support level that we've seen here. It was below all the moving averages and just so happened to catch support at 480. Now trading TQQQ, if we were able to even buy at $62 on this reversal setup and sell at even $64, because again, we're not the perfect trader here, but catching that 62 to 64 would have been a perfect $2 per share or 3% profit. So, you know, even having 50 shares of this, you could have made $50. Okay, no, actually $100, right? Because didn't I say $2 per share? So even 50 shares could have resulted in $200, 100 shares, $100, 100 shares could have resulted in $200 on TQQQ this morning. So very interesting to see that this was reversed. You know, had that huge sell-off yesterday. Now we did play a part in that sell-off yesterday. If you traded with us in the live stream or watched the recap video from yesterday, you will see that we did trade this. We made, I think, around like $10 or $15. It wasn't anything too much because I sold too early. I sold at 33.86s and at $34, and it pushed all the way up to 35 bucks by end of day or even in after hours. So, you know, buying in at 33s, you know, I could have sold at 35s, make $2 per share. But again, that's not what we do here. We simply follow direction, and when direction isn't in our favor, we cut our losses. I don't like to hold positions overnight, nor really would I ever really consider it right now. Maybe with some of these companies that are at all-time lows, like Nvidia pushed all the way down to 110, now back up to 114. You know, it would have been nice to buy a couple shares of Nvidia for sure. You know, Tesla pushing up very nicely. Everything sold off yesterday, so that way it can basically push up today. So again, just being aware of that market conditions. You know, just because it sells off one day doesn't mean it has to continue selling off. And it can actually sell off one day and then sell off 3, 4, 5 days in a row. So, you know, we want to make sure that we're always looking at market direction and being aware of that as well. Okay, guys. On 30-minute, looks like it is getting rejected, pushing back down to 485, which means, of course, my QQQ position, SQQQ position, we could have been up slightly or at least down a little less on it. Again, patience does pay off, but when direction isn't in your favor, it's always easier just to cut your losses, get out of the trade, and then just know, you know, sometimes the best position to take is no position at all. And if you feel uncomfortable with your position size or with the amount of money that you're losing, simply reduce your position size. Instead of having 100 shares or 50 shares, maybe you have 20 shares. Instead of 20 shares, maybe you have 10. Instead of 10, and you're still uncomfortable, maybe do 5, maybe do 1 share, right? It's all about being comfortable when you begin trading as a new trader. That way you don't get discouraged with bigger losses, right? Keep your losses small, keep your profits bigger than your losses, and you will be a consistently more profitable trader over time. So hope you guys enjoyed this recap video. If you want to watch me trade as soon as tomorrow morning, definitely consider subscribing to the channel, joining our Discord, and you'll have 100% free lifetime access to our Learn to Earn community. I highly recommend you check it out. Appreciate you guys' time. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, let's end the year on a green note. See you later.